Is Jungkook taking over Arirang? The secret role fans think Bang Si-hyuk gave him in BTS's most sacred era. Is this really just a logo? Or is it a quiet declaration of power? Why is Jungkook's hand suddenly at the center of BTS's most emotional comeback in 4 years? And why does Bang Si-hyuk's silence only make the mystery louder? When BTS announced their 5th studio album Arirang, scheduled for release on March 20th, 2026 at 1 p.m. Korea Standard Time, the world expected emotion, nostalgia, and reunion. What no one expected was a symbol, 3 simple shapes, designed by Jungkook, quietly becoming the most debated visual in the history of BTS. Fans are now asking a dangerous question. Did Jungkook just become the face of BTS's next era by design? This is not just about art. This is about power, symbolism, timing, and the future of BTS after military service. This is about whether Bang Si-hyuk is quietly moving Jungkook into a role no idol has ever held before, the transition icon of a global supergroup. The story begins officially on January 17, 2026, when BTS confirmed their long-awaited comeback. After nearly 4 years since their last group album in 2022, and following the completion of mandatory military service, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook stood together again as 7. Their new album, titled Arirang, immediately carried weight. Arirang is not just a word. It is Korea's most sacred folk song, representing longing, separation, sorrow, joy, and hope, the emotional DNA of Korean identity. In a Weverse live broadcast on January 16, 2026, the members explained why they chose this name. RM said the idea came when they reflected on who they were, where they came from, and what they missed during enlistment. "We are all Korean," he said, "and we wanted something that truly represents Korea." He added that during military service, they missed society, army, and each other, and that longing connected naturally with the spirit of Arirang. Suga recalled performing Arirang at KSON Paris 10 years ago and said that after a decade, it now feels like our Arirang. It is no longer just tradition. It is memory, struggle, growth, and reunion. The album contains 14 tracks, described by BTS as their most honest story to ARMY, pointing not only to who they were, but where they're going next. Pre-orders opened on January 16th at 11 a.m. Korea Standard Time through Weverse, and special vinyl editions representing each member sold out almost instantly. Alongside the album, BTS announced BTS World Tour, Arirang, beginning April 2026 in South Korea and spanning 79 shows in 34 regions across Asia, North America, South America, Australia, and Europe until March 2027. Everything about Arirang screamed emotion, history, and rebirth. And then the logo appeared to point 3 shapes. Minimal, mysterious, designed by Jungkook himself. According to BTS, Jungkook sketched the first version while they were in the United States. The company later refined it, but the core idea was his. Those 3 symbols represent the Korean letters of Arirang, abstracted into a visual language that feels ancient and modern at the same time. But fans didn't just see design. They saw a message. Why Jungkook? Why not RM, the leader and main lyricist? Why not Suga, known for deep conceptual thinking? Why not a design team? Why was the most sacred symbol of BTS's most emotional album placed in Jungkook's hands? That question exploded across social media, Reddit, fan forums, and comment sections. And a theory began to form. Quiet at first, then loud, then unstoppable. This wasn't just a logo. This was positioning. Many fans believe Bang Si-hyuk is intentionally pushing Jungkook into a new symbolic role, the face of BTS's post-military global transition. Not replacing anyone, not becoming the leader, but becoming the visual and emotional bridge between the old BTS and the future BTS. Why Jungkook fits this role is almost too obvious. He is the youngest, the one who grew up in front of the world. He represents growth more than any other member. From a shy teenager in 2013 to a global pop force, Jungkook embodies transformation. If Arirang is about journey, longing, and return, then Jungkook is the human version of that story. Fans began calling him the transition icon. The idea is simple but powerful. After military service, BTS is entering a new phase. They are no longer just rising stars or peak-era legends. They are veterans of global pop. They need a symbol that feels youthful but experienced, global but Korean, emotional but modern. Jungkook fits that image perfectly. When fans saw that Jungkook was entrusted with the visual core of Arirang, they didn't see coincidence. They saw strategy. Some fans asked, is Bang Si-hyuk quietly shaping Jungkook as the emotional center of this era, the one who visually represents BTS's rebirth? Others went further. Is Jungkook taking over Arirang, not in control, but in meaning? The phrase, Jungkook taking over Arirang, began trending in fans' faces, not as accusation, but as fascination. Fans weren't angry. They were curious. Why him? Why now? The timing matters. This is BTS's first full comeback after military service. The world is watching more closely than ever. Every detail is symbolic. Every choice is a statement. Giving Jungkook the role of logo designer is not a small detail. Logos are memory machines. They stay when songs fade from charts. They are printed on albums, banners, stages, and light sticks. They become the face of an era, letting Jungkook shape that face. BTS and their company are saying something, even if they never say it out loud. Some fans believe Bang Si-hyuk is using Jungkook as the emotional ambassador of this new era, not because he is more important, but because he is the most universally relatable symbol of growth. Others see it as a test. Can Jungkook carry not just vocals and performance, but symbolism itself? What makes this theory stronger is Bang Si-hyuk's silence. He has not explained why Jungkook was chosen. No official statement clarifies the decision beyond Jungkook designed it. In the world of BTS, silence is rarely empty. It invites interpretation, and ARMY never ignores an invitation. On Reddit, fans dissected every angle of the logo. Some noticed how it resembles a circle, wholeness, return, reunion, looks like a path or step, journey, movement. Together, they form not just letters, but a story, return after travel, reunion after separation. Fans asked, who better to symbolize that than Jungkook, who started as the youngest traveler and returned as a global star? Another theory says this is Bang Si-hyuk's way of signaling that BTS is no longer just a group of equals in function, but a group where each member carries symbolic responsibility. RM carries words, Suga carries pain and truth, J-Hope carries light, Jimin carries emotion,
Folk carries art,
Jin carries warmth, and Jungkook now carries transition, not power, but passage. The word icon appears again and again in fan discussions. Jungkook is being shaped not just as a singer, but as a symbol of change. This does not mean other members are being erased. On the contrary, it may mean the group is becoming more layered. Each member now represents a different emotional function in BTS's global story. And Arirang is the perfect stage for this transformation. Arirang is about parting and reunion, about pain that becomes song, about walking away and coming back stronger. BTS lived that story through military service. They left, they waited, they returned. Jungkook, who once cried as the youngest afraid of losing his hyungs, now stands as the one trusted to design the visual soul of their return. That not poetic. Some fans go further, suggesting Bang Si-hyuk is preparing BTS for a future where global audiences connect not just to the group, but to symbolic figures within it. Jungkook becomes the face of movement. RM becomes the voice of thought. Together they build a mythology, not just a band. Whether this is intentional or not, the effect is real. The logo is being talked about almost as much as the music, and this raises a dangerous but fascinating question. Has Jungkook quietly become the emotional centerpiece of BTS's post-military era? Not by announcement, not by title, but by symbolism. The company never said, Jungkook is the new face. But they let him design the face that is louder than words. Some fans worry. They ask if this could create imbalance. But most see it differently. They see it as evolution, not hierarchy. BTS has always grown by changing roles without destroying unity. Leaders shift depending on song, era, emotion. Power in BTS has never been fixed. It flows, and right now it seems to be flowing through Jungkook. Why does this matter so much? Because BTS is no longer just a group. They are a cultural force. Every move becomes a message, whether intended or not. Giving Jungkook control over Arirang's visual identity sends a signal to fans, media, and industry alike. This era belongs to youth returning as wisdom. Jungkook is no longer the golden magne learning from others. He is now shaping the story itself, and Bang Si-hyuk knows exactly how symbolism works. He built BTS by turning stories into brands and emotions into movements. He knows that fans don't just follow music, they follow meaning. SO is Jungkook being quietly positioned as the bridge between old BTS and future BTS. Is he becoming the icon of transition? The face you see when BTS says, "We are back, but not the same"? No one from HYB or Big Hit has confirmed this. But sometimes, the loudest answers are hidden in design choices. Point 3 symbols. One message. A return through youth. BTS prepares to release Arirang on March 20th, 2026, and launch a world tour of 79 shows across 34 regions. The world will soon see not just how they sound, but how they look, how they move, and who they choose to stand at the emotional front. And every time that logo appears on a screen, a stage, or an album cover, fans will remember one thing. Jungkook drew it. He touched the symbol of Korea's most sacred song and turned it into the face of BTS's rebirth. The question remains, burning quietly behind every teaser and every stage. Did Jungkook just design a logo, or did he design the future image of BTS? And more importantly, was this his idea alone or Bang Si-hyuk's most subtle strategy yet? The silence around that question is what makes it so powerful, because in the world of BTS, nothing truly important is ever accidental. As the release date of Arirang moves closer, fans have begun to notice something else. Something that makes the Jungkook as transition icon. Theory feel less like fantasy and more like pattern. In every teaser, every visual, every early promotional hint, Jungkook's presence feels central. Not louder, not dominating, but placed exactly where your eyes naturally go. Some fans rewatched the Weverse Live from January 16th, 2026. They noticed how, when the topic of the logo came up, other members looked at Jungkook, not with competition but with quiet recognition. RM smiled. Suga nodded slowly. Jimin leaned closer, as if listening more carefully than before. No one questioned why Jungkook did it. No one joked about it being random. It was treated like something natural, even expected. That moment became evidence for many fans. Not proof, but signal. Fans also noticed how media headlines began changing tone. Early reports focused on BTS returns, but newer headlines increasingly included Jungkook's name when talking about visuals, design, and emotional tone. It was subtle, but it was happening, and Bang Si-hyuk still said nothing. This is what makes fans suspicious. When something is truly insignificant, companies explain it casually. When something is meaningful, they often let it speak. And the logo is speaking. In Korean culture, symbols matter deeply. Arirang is not just a song. It is memory, identity, pain, and pride. To give its visual form to one member is not just creative choice. It is cultural trust. Jungkook. Some believe it is because Jungkook represents the generation that carries tradition forward without freezing it in the past. He is modern, global, digital, but still deeply Korean. He speaks the language of youth, but sings the emotion of history. Arirang itself has many versions, many melodies, many interpretations. It changes while staying the same. That is exactly what Jungkook's career has done. From school uniform concepts to stadium stages, from shy glances to global confidence, he is living proof that change does not erase roots, it strengthens them. Fans began calling the logo Jungkook's Arirang. Not officially. Emotionally, they say it feels like Jungkook took the song that represents leaving and returning and turned it into a symbol of growing up and coming back stronger. And that fits too perfectly with BTS's story after military service. They left as legends. They return as something else, something deeper. Some fans believe Bang Si-hyuk is using this moment to quietly shift BTS from being seen as idols to being seen as cultural figures. And cultural figures need symbols, not just songs. Giving Jungkook the role of shaping that symbol is like saying, "This is the generation